There's nothing positive about losing your job, but if you had to find that one tiny bit of optimism, you could think of this as perhaps an opportunity to reinvent yourself.
Brad Karsh is the president and founder of JobBound in Chicago. Brad's the author of a book called Confessions of a Recruiting Director. He spent 15 years at Leo Burnett in Chicago. He was a vice president and director of talent acquisition there. Brad, you looked at 10,000 resumes. You hired 1,000 people. I mean, you've really seen everything. What do? I need to reinvent myself. The jobs are going away, and I'm worried that mine might be next.
Yeah, it's sort of our first tendency whenever we lose a job, and I know it's not a great situation for anyone. Our first tendency is to say, all right, I must find the exact same job in the exact same industry in the exact same city. And I always tell job seekers, take a deep breath. Yes, this is a tough situation to go through, but it's also, as you said, an opportunity to perhaps reinvent yourself, to think about doing something different. So take, even if it's just a couple days, and think, what do I really love to do? What do I maybe want to do for my next step? And is this the chance to get to do it?
Is it the chance? You have to be realistic, though, because you can't necessarily, depending on your circumstances, take a job that's going to pay a lot less. Some people can't necessarily pick up and move halfway across country, and other people might not have the financial investment, and, you know, the student loan market is seizing up. You might not have the money to go and retrain yourself. So how do you go from being maybe a construction manager or a machinist or some of these jobs that are going away and translate that into something that you can raise your family on?
Sure. And, you know, the next step, if you decide that you are going to stay in something relatively similar, is to focus on the transferable skills of what you've done and try to apply it to a different industry. So let's say you were a construction manager, but a huge part of what you did was handling the technology within the office. Maybe you realize when you sit down that, you know, 10 to 15% of what you did every day was dealing with some technology issues because it was a small office. Well, maybe that's an opportunity for you to realize that you have a passion and an aptitude to move into a field that has more opportunities, like technology. So on your resume and your job search, you focus on those skills that you have.
What's the opportunity cost? How do you measure the opportunity cost of getting retrained in something? Because I think you're right. A lot of people get very panicky. They lose their job or they're losing their job. They want to get back into a job and have an income stream as quickly as possible. Sometimes several months or a year spent retraining might be a better investment.
Yeah, it might be. And again, it depends on what the upside is for that job that you're going to go into. You just heard about how a little bit of training can pay off in terms of some high-paying jobs in the medical industry or in the technology field. Everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different. If you have not yet lost your job but afraid that you are, now's the time to try and get that training while you're still employed. So go to school at night, go to school on the weekends, practice this stuff while you still can and while you still have a revenue stream.
You know, Brad, I think people care about workplace issues so much. I mean, even if you have a job and you don't think you're in danger of losing your job, do you lose some of your negotiating ability at work if other people are firing people and downsizing? I mean, is it now not the time to ask for a raise, to ask for a new job, to maybe, you know, tell your boss what you really think?
Well, it could be, or it could be an opportunity.
Sure.
So for a lot of people, if you're working in a department of 15 that is now a department of 5, maybe you have more responsibility. Maybe you can say, I'm now doing the work of 3 people. I don't want all 3 of their salaries, but, you know, can you give me a 15% bump? And certainly companies aren't flush with cash, but at the same time, if you're taking on more responsibility, maybe it's the time to get the promotion, and alongside of the promotion comes some more money.
And they have to retain their productive workers who are really carrying the load.
You sometimes could be more important. Brad, job layoffs and downturns in the economy often result in a spike in the number of people who run their own businesses. If you've always dreamt of running your own business, is this an idea?
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful idea. And again, this could be the impetus to start something new, different, or interesting for you. If you've had a passion, now might be the time to pursue it. Again, it will depend on your personal situation. Again, I also always advise people, if you can start that business, as long as it's not a conflict, on the side while you're still employed, get some traction going, and then leap into it. Take the plunge.
Well, and here I am, the angel of gloom again here, because a lot of times small businesses lose money in the first year. So you got to be ready. You have to prepare.
You have to be ready. So again, that's why I advise you, it's always advisable to try and get that stuff up and running on the side if you can, while not conflicting with what you're doing at work. It's going to be a much better option for you. And it depends what the business is. You might be earning some money from the get-go. It might be an investment of time.
Brad, good to talk to you. Thank you. Brad Karsh is the president and founder of JobBound, joining us from Chicago.